I'm not crying. I put eye drops in. My eyes are dry. It's like I'm crying.
Been sneezing all day.
Yeah.
Rod, if you want to come over on this side, there we go.
You're different today?
What's that? We're switching it up.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Okay. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got, well, George, you want to go ahead?
There you go.
Go ahead and get started with Georgia Tech Interim Head Coach Brent Key. Coach, if you could open us with some remarks before we start taking questions on Florida State.
Yeah. We back out on the practice field today. Yesterday was the players' off day. So really Sunday was the day we got back together and, had a disappointing game last week. Got together on Sunday, extra 2 days in between. Then got together on Sunday as a team, watched the film, made the corrections, put it to bed. Really the same process that we do after wins. Put the game to bed that night. Had dinner, came back down, started scouting port-wise for Florida State moving forward. And same thing we would do with a win. You have to play each game, and like we're saying, it is a season, and they're one-game seasons, and that's the approach we're taking. And it's well known. No one's happy, when you have a loss like you did on Thursday night. And just like we talk about the ability to handle success, the ability to handle the failure is just as important. You have to be able to handle those things because you can't change one thing that's in the past. You really can't. And we all know that, but you sure can learn from what's in the past. And you can learn from those things, and you can learn from them moving forward to put yourself in a better position, to not have those things happen again. And regardless of who's in the game, what's in the game, it's everyone's job on the football team to step up and rise up and be able to play the best brand of football that they can, to put the team in a position to be able to win the football game. So, like I said, we addressed it a lot, and now it's moving forward. Preparing for Florida State. 2 days in of practice and 3 days into the prep already, and we're able to get a little bit of a jump on them as a staff after we put the game to bed on Friday, and get a little bit of jump on Saturday for these guys. So, it's a big thing that we talked about on Sunday was discipline, and not necessarily from a standpoint of penalties or things like that. That's included, but we talk about the discipline to prepare and the practice and how important practice is. But then you also have to have the discipline to carry those things over into the game, and have confidence in that preparation that you had, and be able to have the discipline to play through ups and downs of the football game. And we weren't able to do that on Thursday. So, we're going to learn from those things. We're going to move forward with them. I know you guys are going to ask about Jeff Sims, so go ahead and put it out there. He's got a sprain his foot in the game. It's nothing to do with what kept him out of the last two plays for the last game. The game prior to that, it was something different. Had an MRI. Everything checked out fine with it, and he's day-to-day moving forward. So go ahead and beat you to the punch on that one. No. So with that, open up to questions, guys.
Okay, questions? Please got a mic to Rod.
With all that's been going on with the quarterback situation and all the talk out there, there's a third guy that's on the depth chart. How is Tyson progressing and making a case for playing time if it comes down to that?
Yeah, well, we got to put the players that have not only practiced the best, but that the whole body of work over the last 4 months, I guess it now is, to put in the game. And I don't know where Tyson will be in this game, but Zach Pyron is the guy that's on the roster as well. Fully expect that both Zachs will play in this football game, Zach Gibson and Zach Pyron.
Kelly?
10th coach, have you promoted someone?
Yeah, Kelly, we're actually hadn't finished going through HR and all that yet, but by next week I'll be able to announce it. But yes.
Patrick?
Coach Key, what would you say in summary is the strength of Zach Gibson's game as a quarterback at the D1 level?
he does have the ability to throw off a good football, and that was evident in some of the passes he made in the game. Now we've got to settle things down around him to allow him to be able to use his strengths, and that's what it is, to be able to throw the football. And he's got good football instincts, within the play. I get it. It didn't show up always in the game. That's why you play the game, and you continue to learn while you play the game. You learn 10 times as many lessons in a football game than you even do in practice, and that's why, again, you go back to what we talked about of raising that level of practice to meet the game. But the game it's different, and that was really the first game to play in here, with the exception of a couple of plays the week before. So, but he does deliver the football nice. He can make where to go with the football, the decisions where to go with the football. So we've got to be able to use those talents of his.
Brent, I just want to make sure I understood you correctly. You said that both Zachs will play on Saturday?
I would not assume, ain't the right word to say.
Expect?
Expect. There you go.
All right.
Thanks.
Here to help.
That's that journalism right there. Yeah. I can do long equations and do science and math and all that, but no. Yes, I do. I fully expect both of those guys to play.
And that likely means Jeff won't play. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Again, he's day to day,
Yeah.
but you got to prepare for both scenarios.
With Zach Pyron, just obviously he's a freshman. You guys are trying not to overload him. Is it a situation where maybe you have some things you feel good with him in, and that's his role? Or I know you had him as sort of the third guy last week, but just kind of what's going on with his development too?
Yeah, when you get in those situations, you can't overload a kid, and you got to do what their strengths are and what their strengths are, but also what will help you move the football in the game, and that's what we've got to do as an offense. We've got to be able to move the football and put points on the board, bottom line, and to be able to have both of those guys utilize the strengths that they have within the game. I think it'll help us as an offense.
What were some of the lessons you think Gibson learned over the course of the game and you carried over into practice?
Clock management, time management, not to press certain things, take the first look that's there, take the first read, not try to get the big play all the time. Saying you can't go broke taking a profit. I mean, hit the check down. Don't try to win the game on every play. Situational awareness with the clock and the time of the game. Those are all things that you can practice all you want, but then when the lights are on and it's moving fast, it doesn't always work out the way that you practiced it. And then so you got to take those lessons that happen in the game, and you got to continue to push forward with them and make sure you don't make those mistakes again. That's the biggest thing with mistakes. Everybody in the world is going to make a mistake, makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. The ability not to make it again, to learn from it, that's the sign of somebody that's going in the right direction.
You got into a situation where Virginia loaded the box after Jeff went out, and I know it's difficult to run the ball, but was there anything you can think of there that kind of dared you to throw, but something moving forward so you guys can be more effective in the run game when teams are trying to load up like that on you?
Yeah, that's the whole plan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Kelly. No, that's a very valid question, because you have to prepare for what you anticipate the defense to do. You have to have adjustments within the plan. You have to have adjustments within the game plan, expecting those things. And you try to prepare for every situation that comes into a game and have those answers. And that's something that obviously we recognize. We were not able to do it on Thursday. And moving forward, we got to have those answers.
I think you only had one full-time offensive lineman starter returning this year, and I guess the last couple of years, continuity has probably been a big thing. Lining up different guys each year. How have you seen this group start to come together as the season moves on?
Well, I saw progress moving forward. Really, we talked about it last week from the second half of the Pitt game and through the Duke game, and then we're moving the ball to start, and then we get to 3rd and 1 on the first drive, and we have a false start, which is an overall organizational piece that we've fixed now, not just one person. And then the next drive of the game, I mean, we moved the ball right down the field, running the ball, being able to throw the football, run the ball. So, I saw that progress continue to occur. And then, once the game changed, they've got to stay with the same confident mindset. And that's what I've talked about, regardless of who's in the football game, that everyone else around them, whether it's a different running back, different quarterback, obviously it's spotlighted a lot more when the quarterback is different. But everyone else has to raise their game around them and not play tentatively, not play hesitantly. So, I don't think we did that at all. I thought we became a tentative group. We became trying to, almost be perfect on everything. And when you try to be perfect on everything at that position, you become really good at nothing. And so it was it was a collective effort to, let me say it this way, it was a collective effort to be bad. And it was bad in the second half. And that's what we got back to work on Friday, Saturday, got with the kids, put it to bed on Sunday, learned from what happened in the past, and we got back out on the practice field. And there ain't a better feeling than get back out on the practice field in full pads.
I know your oversight of the defense has only been 3 games or so, but I'm curious, Ace Ely, what you've seen in him, even going back a few years, how have you seen him progress, and what is he doing for the defense right now?
His leadership is off the charts. It really is. And it's not just leadership of doing what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, and doing it all the time. He's vocal. And there's a lot of people that have the saying of and I talked to the team about this the other day, and well, you lead by example, you lead by example, you lead by example. Well, yeah, you can lead by example. Well, everyone's supposed to do the right thing. You got to have people that want to lead by speaking up when telling people that they're not doing what's right, telling people how to do it the right way, setting the standard by not only what they do, but how they challenge everyone else to rise up to the standard that they've set. That's leadership. That's the ability to lead people in one direction. Leadership isn't being a nice guy. Leadership isn't fun. Leadership isn't, being the cool guy. You want a lot of guys around you that are going to be good people and do the right thing and lead by example. Right? True leaders step up and speak out and voice their opinions. And sometimes they're not always right, but they have the confidence in themselves to step up and to say those things. And then the other leaders around them have their back. And when other leaders around one person have their back, then you really start to have a collective group of leaders that can lead a team of 105, 110 guys. And I challenged our team that leadership can't be one-sided. It can't be offense and defense. It can't be in the running back room or in the receiver room. Right? It's got to be collectively as an entire offense. It's got to be collectively as an entire team. It can't be offense versus defense. Practice is one thing when it's offense versus defense, but when you get everyone together, no one should have an issue if Ace walks over to the other sideline and tells an offensive player he's not doing things the way we do them here. No one should have an issue if an offensive player goes over to the defensive field and says something. And that's got to change. That's got to continue to change, because great teams, and I've been very fortunate to be on some great teams. And there was no separation of leadership. It was combined leadership. And the combined leadership is what made both sides of the football, when one team was down and not playing as well, that it's not going and dog cussing them. It's motivating them and getting it right. And that's what Ace Ely did on Thursday night. That's what Ace did. He came over to the offensive huddle and did that. That's respect right there.
Couple over here.
Hey, thanks. Coach, you addressed this in your opening statement about, each game is by itself and handling failures as well as handling success. Just wanted to ask, do you think the team has responded to that message in the few days since then? What are the signs you're seeing? I mean, maybe what you just talked about is part of it, the vocal leadership, but what are the signs you're seeing that they're kind of buying into what you've been saying?
Well, as a coach, that's one thing you're concerned about. You don't know until you actually witness it and you see it and you feel it. And we started by Friday. Friday we had a leadership meeting. In the 13, 14 guys that are on leadership, we had a meeting, and AP is a big part of that. And we got down and hey, let's open up, let's talk. Now, I'm not going to share what went on in that meeting, but it was powerful. It was a good meeting. Well, then that filters into your locker room, and then that helps to build the the type of team that you really want. And if those guys are doing it the right way, then everyone else is going to do it the right way. And we do have a really solid core group of leaders that are learning how to lead. So there's a couple in there that know. They're helping the others really learn how to lead. And then to go out on the practice field today and see everyone out there dialed in, tuned in, practicing hard, good on good, competing against each other, that's the sign that, you know, there's no let up at all. You know, it really does go back to you got to handle success and failure the same way. And, you know, for the last 4 days, I went back to a quote that something that Coach Saban said a lot. Coach Saban always said, you can't ever waste a failure. You can never waste a failure. And that's really the thing we've been working towards right now.
More over that way, Miles?
So I got here a little late, Coach, so apologies if you mentioned this kind of stuff already, but kind of had a big picture question in regards to, and I'm sure you guys take one game at a time, but do the players ever address, you know, the possibility of getting to a bowl game this year, and what are those discussions? No.
Thank you.
Simple as that. Okay, and then one other question I had in regards to, I think a couple weeks ago you had mentioned that the guys are trying to learn how to win again. Was that the quote? I don't want to misquote you on that. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Where would you guys say that assessment of the team is at right now in regards to them learning how to win again? Would you say that it's kind of the same spot, or you think that they're making improvements every game, every practice type thing?
I learned how to do calculus here, and I didn't pass every test. So, but I passed some of them, and we've passed a couple, and we failed one. So we've got to continue to learn and grow in that.
Time for a few more, Patrick, and then Kelly.
Coach, on the positive side, blocked 2 of their kicks last Thursday night. Is that a new plan or a better execution of the old plan, or a mixture of both?
It was something we put into the game plan. You know, the field goal block is something we've been working on for a long time, and being able to get the effort that you need to push that front line back so that somebody can get their hand. It's not about somebody jumping and getting a hand on it as much as it's the guys doing the dirty work up front that knock the field goal protection group back. Then it allows somebody to get their hand up, and Zeke was able to get his hand up and tip the field goal, which was a big play in the game. And then for about 3 series, we were contemplating when to call the block punt, call for the block of the punt. And it's no secret to anybody, we were struggling on offense, and we had to generate something. And I wanted to wait until it was kind of that side of the 50, 40-yard line, so that we'd have a chance then, if we blocked it, recover it, if you don't scoop and score, to be in field goal range, and at least be able to get points on the board right there, if not continue to work into the red zone and score a touchdown. And it just so happened the 3rd series that we've been working on it, we worked on it in practice, but thinking about it, Dalen Gordon made an unbelievable effort to 2 guys are getting knocked over here, 2 guys are getting knocked over here, and everyone else did their job. We showed it in the good, bad, ugly on Sunday night that there's 4 other guys up there that didn't block the kick that all did their job of eating up the blocks to allow Dalen to squeeze in there and block the punt. So you want to talk about a picture of true team players? That was it. I mean, it was. So yeah, we'd worked on it, we planned on it, and the timing was right to be able to call it. And one thing I do want to say that we had, I think it was 8 guys that we've singled out over the last couple of weeks that we really wanted to be our core special teams guys, and to be able to play at the same level that a starter on offense or defense would, and that's their role. And I mean, you're talking an average of 30 plays a football game that those guys are playing now if they're on all 4. And to be on, I think there's several of them that are on all 4, and there's a couple that are on all 3 and a backup. And I don't want to call their names out now because I might miss one of them. But the energy they played with, and the competitiveness that they played with, and the physicality and speed, it was indicative of what you want your football team to be. It really was.
You have quarterbacks that each have a different skill set, right? Like there's a huge difference just in the skill set between Zach Gibson and Jeff Sims or Ponchan or Pyron. How difficult is that in a game to adjust? You come in maybe with your 40 best plays or whatever for a game, and it's obviously game plan for QB1. Just how difficult is that to adjust on the fly, and how much do you think that factored into kind of some of the problems you guys had?
It is hard. It is hard, especially when there's that much of a difference in a skill set, and it's tough. It is. We got to continue to work and be better prepared for that. But regardless of how prepared you are, when that switch flips and of how you've really programmed yourself of calling the plays and calling the game for the last 48 hours, it's tough to switch it back the other way. But we have to. I mean, that's our job, and we've got to put the players in the best position to be able to have success. And but that's hard. It's really hard. And again, we talk about the strengths of certain players and play into those strengths. Then but we'll continue to work on that.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks guys. All right.